Welcome, everyone. Bienvenidos.
Welcome. Wonderful to have everyone today.
Yes. It is a beautiful morning here in Santa Cruz, and we are so grateful that you are joining us.
Thank you.
Our intention today is to generate a sense of community and joy. Deseamos crear comunidad y gozo este día. We welcome all of you to keep your videos on so that we can see your beautiful faces. And you will remain in mute until the breakout times so that we could learn from each other. However, because the event is being recorded, if you prefer to also turn off your camera, that is fine also. If you're joining us via phone, or if you see someone who's joining via phone during the breakouts, encourage them to engage in conversation in creative ways. We'll also share with you that we are going to have a question and answer time at the very end, and you are welcome to share your questions in the chat below throughout the presentation. Our colleagues, Manny Romero and Nicole Albuquerque, will be assisting in the answering question, and will be answering many of your questions, but we'll also be gathering the questions for us to engage in that at the very end. Los invitamos a hacer preguntas durante todo este proceso y también pueden escribirlos en el chat. Vamos a tener un espacio al final también para contestar sus preguntas. We're going to also in the chat, speaking of the chat, encourage all of you to begin to use it by putting in there where you're joining us from and how long you've been associated with LifeLab. Los invitamos a escribir aquí en el chat de dónde nos acompañan esta mañana y cuánto tiempo han estado asociados con LifeLab. Por ejemplo, yo les voy a compartir aquí. I'm going to share with all of you. I am joining from Santa Cruz, and I've been associated with LifeLab for 12 years as a parent and 1 year on staff. We have welcome, Shira and Caden. Bienvenidos, welcome, Erica and Beth. Bienvenida, Chela, desde Guadalajara. Good morning, Amy and Ashleen, Kara. Good morning, Ryan. From Riverbank, thanks for joining us, Danette. Good morning, Krista. Good morning, Rebecca. And Nicole from Alabama, wonderful. And Christina from Jackson, Wyoming, wow. Buenos días, Olga. Good morning, Angelina. And Claire, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Lorna, good morning from Laguna Beach. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Yeah. Good morning, Carolyn. Buenos días, Margarita from Guadalajara. And Cristina. Good morning, Andrea. Joining us from PVUSD, Pajaro Valley Unified School District. Muy buenos días, good morning. Okay. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here today. Es un placer compartir este espacio con todos ustedes. Mi nombre es Judith Camacho y tengo la gran fortuna de poder estar aquí como codirectora en LifeLab. I am so grateful to share this joyful work at LifeLab with my co-executive director, Don Burgett. Adelante, Don.
Gracias, Judith. Thank you everyone for coming today to this new virtual format of gathering for us as a community. We're so excited to share everything with you today that we have prepared. And it's just such a pleasure to do this with Judith and our whole incredible team, our staff and board. So thank you for joining us, and here we go. So my first offering today is a privilege to introduce a wonderful young woman, Elena, who was an intern with us a number of times in all different ways in our programs, and did some fantastic work right toward the end of her undergraduate time with a senior internship project in an area that has been of deeper and deeper engagement for us as an organization and as individuals within it, around what we call JEDI's work, justice, equity, diversity, inclusion, and solidarity. So as part of that, we really appreciate opening conversations now with a land acknowledgement. So with that, I'll introduce a little bit about Elena, who will then read the land acknowledgement for us.
The following land. Hello everyone, I'm Elena Stenger, a former LifeLab intern and UCSC grad of 2019. I feel very grateful to be here with you all and to gather as a community. I was privileged to intern for almost every program LifeLab has to offer. I am extremely honored to present the following land acknowledgement. The land on which we gather is the unceded territory of the Awaswas-speaking Yupi tribe. The Amah Mutsun tribal band, comprised of the descendants of indigenous people taken to missions Santa Cruz and San Juan Bautista during Spanish colonization of the Central Coast, is today working hard to restore traditional stewardship practices on these lands and heal from historical trauma. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. It is significant to read this land acknowledgement because LifeLab offices and our garden classroom are located on the UCSC campus. The land acknowledgement was developed in collaboration with the local tribe, the Amah Mutsun tribe, and the Arboretum, which is also located on the UCSC campus. Next slide, please. LifeLab. Our mission is to cultivate children's love of learning, healthy food, and nature through garden-based education.
And next slide, please, John. As many of you know, we've been doing this for a long, long time. Those of us who are part of LifeLab now have the great honor and privilege of continuing work that started 41 years ago at Green Acres Elementary here in the Santa Cruz area, and spread from here all across the Central Coast and across the country and across the world with really remarkable impacts over time.
Next slide, please.
And just wanting to note in the present day that this is our very fun depiction from starting with a photo from last year and adding on, as you can see. We have had remarkable growth in both our programs, our budget, and here in our staff, in our capacity to do this work. And it's been so exciting. We've grown 40% just in the last 2 years, and we continue to have opportunities to grow. And that's part of what we're excited to share with you today. So this is the amazing team that is making it all happen.
Yes. And we also want to make sure that you guys stay tuned. We have a lot to share, but there is a special announcement and a special surprise to share with all of you. So please stay until the end of the presentation, and there will also be a raffle.
Next slide.
So our first activity is at LifeLab, we really believe in engagement and connection. And so we are going to engage with each other. Vamos a empezar una actividad para irnos conociendo. We're going to go into breakout rooms for 6 minutes. There will be 3 people per breakout, and it will be an opportunity for you to get to meet new people and answer this question. What inspired you to join us today? Vamos a estar en estos espacios donde cada quien va a estar en un cuarto virtual por 6 minutos, 3 personas por grupo. Y lo que queremos es que puedan contestar esta pregunta. ¿Qué les inspiró a estar aquí con nosotros este día? Enjoy the conversation. Disfruten la conversación. If you're seeing a join a breakout room, please press that so that you can be joining one of your breakout rooms.
Thank you, Dee. So we are, as many of you know, we have amazing local programs here in Santa Cruz County, and we're going to share more about that soon because that's particularly this year such a huge part of where our journey has taken us this season. Some of you who know us more from those local programs may not realize that because we've been doing this for so long, since 1979, LifeLab has long been a national leader and recognized resource for curriculum, for teacher training, for models of success in programs and garden classrooms, design, in many things. So we try to be the school garden support organization for our own community, but we also have undertaken major national programming. And that's what we're going to start with today is I'll hand it over to John, who, as some of you might have heard, has been part of LifeLab for 20 years and is truly a leader in this movement nationally, and is just does amazing work constantly sharing resources and knowledge and connecting people so that nobody has to reinvent wheels. So thank you so much, John. Please tell us a bit about the National.
Great, thank you, Don. I'm going to start by sharing a video from one of our School Garden Support Organization members. This is a cute story. It's a love story. It's an inspirational work story, and it's what's coming next story. So I'll let our video presenter share what she has to share.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Watt, and I'm the Executive Director of the Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation. We are the charitable arm of Sprouts Farmers Market, and we specialize in bringing nutrition education and fresh food access to communities across the country. One of the key ways that our foundation works to bring our mission to life is by making major investments in nonprofit organizations that we've identified as regional leaders in the school garden and nutrition education movement. Over the last 5 years, we've identified multiple key partners that are doing great work in the school garden and nutrition space. And
I'm sorry about the mouth not going with the voice. I'm going to pause momentarily and restart and see if it works. On my screen, it's working, but I have a feeling on your screen it's not. Let's see if this pause gets her synced back up.
Those partners together, we were having a meeting one day, and I said, who else should be at the table? And the partners looked at each other, and unanimously they said, well, have you heard of LifeLab? And so very quickly after that, I jumped on the phone with the LifeLab team, and I think the first thing that I said to them was, I think I have a crush on you, because of the quality of the work and the programming and just the core integrity that LifeLab has brought to their programming. Working very closely with LifeLab to support their work with the National School Garden Support Organization Network. I know it's a mouthful to say, but this is an incredible network that John and Whitney and the team at LifeLab have been a part of for many years. It is a go-to resource for all of those organizations that oftentimes feel isolated. Maybe they're the only school garden, nonprofit in a small town, or maybe they're looking to grow their programming and don't necessarily know where to go to find those best practices. And so LifeLab has really been core to helping to bring those organizations together, provide opportunities via webinars, distance learning, in-person networking events for that group to really come together and learn from one another. As organizations across the country, we're feeling the impact of COVID on school gardens, on school closures, on kids, on families, and very quickly they sprung to action by hosting weekly webinars, putting together best practices, recommendations for social distancing, caring for gardens with schools closed, how to support teachers as kids come back and are required to be working virtually. And it just was such a great testament really to the power of peer-to-peer networking and the work that LifeLab has done as an organization. And for us, for our entire team at Sprouts, it was just something we were really proud to be a part of. As we think about Sprouts and our mission and where we can be most helpful to the organizations that are, out in the community, one of the things that we saw was being able to take the work of the SGSO network and further strengthen it by helping the organization with strategic planning, as well as hiring a full-time position that will be able to support John and the LifeLab team as they are working on delivering all of this great programming.
So as Lindsay shared, we are a network. Sprouts Community Foundation is one of our newest members and one of our strongest members, enabling us to do incredible work. Like she mentioned, we are expanding to go for a full strategic planning process and hiring a staff member to continue to support the thousands of organizations. When I started this or co-founded this organization in 2012, there's under 100 organizations, and now we're thousands of organizations supporting tens of thousands of school garden organizations similar to LifeLab. So each one of these dots represents hundreds of gardens that they are supporting in schools across the country. One area that LifeLab's been a key leader in is by hosting leadership institutes, where we bring together teams of 2 from 25 support organizations from across the country. We've ran these 4 years in a row, and this year we're obviously switching to a virtual working group model, and we're going to continue this work funded through the Whole Kids Foundation, where we're strengthening the game and upping the game of these organizations that are working across the country to make the impact similar to what we're doing with the students that we work locally. As Lindsay mentioned, COVID's been tough, but what our network did is we responded fast, and we went from monthly webinars to weekly webinars, topics from distance learning to outdoor classroom design and social emotional learning to how to teach in person if you are in that space. And our webinars were received very, very well. Over 75% of the folks that attended our webinars said that they feel better prepared to do the work. And I figure that's a pretty good number to have if you're doing a webinar and enabling others to do work in this tricky time that we're navigating through. Our webinars also went up from 80 to 120 participants per webinar to 200 people per webinar. So Lindsay mentioned some big steps, but one of the most exciting big steps that is happening in April of 2022, we will be working with Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation to launch the first ever National School Garden Conference, the Growing School Garden Summit. So we've had a little stumbling along the way since we were going to do that in 2021, and COVID has shifted, but we're still working towards this. And more than ever, our network is needed. People are tuning in to what we have to share to strengthen the work across the SGSO network. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Whitney Cohen, our Education Director, and Sarah Severance.
Hi, everybody. I'm Whitney Cohen. I'm our Education Director. Can't thank you enough for joining us today, this morning, at least this morning for Californians. We're just so grateful to have you here. So I'm going to share a little bit about our work across the country. As many of you who have been involved with LifeLab know, for decades now, we have provided teacher training and curriculum for thousands of educators across the country, focused on hands-on experiential education in garden classrooms. You will not be surprised to hear that that work looks really different this year because we're not flying across the country and meeting people in person in gardens. But I will say this work has never felt more important than it does this year. And I'll share a little bit about why. Next slide, John. So one of our key goals that has always been a goal, but that's really lifted up in importance in this unique year, is to build teacher confidence with outdoor classrooms. Because I don't have to tell you, distance learning has been necessary for public health reasons, but it's been truly devastating for a lot of children and their families. And so we're really looking for how we can support schools in reopening safely. And at this time when this virus is compelling us to think about things like plastic shields and temperature checks out at the front of the school and everyone wearing masks, those all make a lot of sense. And they're kind of hard to get used to, I think, for kids and for families and teachers. But outdoor classrooms is another piece of the puzzle, and maybe the one COVID response that might also be something where the kids come back to school and say like, wow, this is awesome. So outdoor classrooms allow for, less germ transmission, et cetera. So they're really being embraced by some schools as part of the solution to reopening safely. And at LifeLab, we have now decades of experience with teaching in outdoor classrooms. So we're doing a lot to build teacher confidence so that they feel comfortable using outdoor spaces to teach. Next slide, please. In addition to that, we've always held the belief that connecting kids outdoors to natural settings supports their social emotional well-being. And this also has never felt more important than it does today, with all of the additional stresses that are on kids and their families during this unique year. And so as educators, we're really kind of tasking ourselves with figuring out now, how do we do this? How do we train educators across the country in two different scenarios, both for kids who are returning to school and using outdoor classrooms, and also for children who are engaged in distance learning. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah now, who's going to share with you a bit about how we've pivoted our trainings to support our teachers all across the country. Next slide, please.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Whitney. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Educator Training Specialist. And next slide, please. So when I first joined the LifeLab team, I really saw the intention and the quality of LifeLab workshops and LifeLab's approach to teaching and learning. The garden education community knows LifeLab, and they know the reputation that it holds. And for years, people have asked, how could we be certified as a garden educator trained by LifeLab? And we are pleased to announce there is now this capability. So COVID forced us to cancel our in-person workshops this year. And that also, though, on the upside, provided us some time and some space to develop what we're calling the LifeLab Certified Garden Education Program, starting for the general public in January in 2021. And this program will include 4 courses based on topics that we know are important for school gardens to thrive, and participants from anywhere can join online. There'll be a community building in cohorts We'll have discussion and sharing of resources, hands-on learning, and this unique coaching model. So as a public school teacher for many years and a science instructional coach, I saw the value of coaching. Being able to give and receive feedback on your practice that directly impacts the children you teach can really be impactful for all of the children. So upon completion of the 4 courses, a garden educator will be considered LifeLab certified, and they can take that distinction with them anywhere. So in addition to the certification program, we're also offering some standalone virtual workshops, and we've already trained educators all the way from Lowell, Massachusetts to San Francisco recently using this model. And I will say we were a little hesitant to convert our workshops into this online instruction model because we so value that in-person learning and that hands-on learning so much, but we have found a way to do it and it's working. So next, we're going to experience a little sample of what it's like using one of our tried and true LifeLab activities called Tell It Like It Is. So when I'm working with educators, I like to demonstrate the activity just as I would do it as I'm doing it with children. So the educators can experience it and know how to replicate this activity with their students. So today, you all are going to be participants in this activity. And this activity is designed to develop a deep connection to nature, improve our sensory awareness, and really hone in those deep observation skills. So we're going to get started. Welcome everybody to our virtual garden classroom. We're going to start today with a mindfulness breath. So I'd like everyone to sit nice and tall in their chair. And I want you to take a big, deep breath in. And as you do that, I want you to reach up really, really high like you are a tall California redwood tree. And now exhale, bringing your arms down like you're the branches of that redwood tree. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in. Arms up tall like the redwood. Imagine you are that redwood tree now. Exhale, bring those branches all the way down. We're going to continue to get connected with our natural world through our activity called Tell It Like It Is. Now, hopefully you have a natural object with you, and if you do, keep it hidden on your desk. And you'll also need a pencil and just a scrap sheet of paper. And if you don't have those things handy right now, that's okay. In a moment, you'll have a chance to grab those, or if you don't have a chance to get outside real quick, you can just grab an object from your room or something close by. You're going to be in a breakout room with 2 to 3 people. And your goal for this activity is to describe your natural object to your partners without telling them what it is. And they are going to draw it and then try to guess what it is based on your description. So you're going to really pay attention to the details and get to intimately know that natural object. What are the shapes, the sizes, the textures, and try to describe it as best as you can. So, for example, let's say Whitney is my partner. We're in a breakout room. If we don't know each other, we're going to quick introduce ourselves. Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Whitney.
And we're just going to choose someone to start. I'm going to start by describing my natural object, Whitney. And my natural object is about 2 inches big. And at the top, it's pointed. And it comes down with really smooth lines, kind of like in a rounded shape on each side. Then it comes back to a point at the bottom, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to keep describing it with as much detail as possible. You'll have about 2 minutes to do that. And when you're done describing, then Whitney is going to try to guess what my object is.
Is it a leaf?
And then we're going to show each other. Let's check and see.
Hey,
Nice. Very good. So you'll have about 4 minutes total in your breakout room. If you finish early, you can switch roles and Whitney could describe. If you only get to 1 person, that's fine. And if someone's joining on phone or don't have an object, I know you all can be creative and find a way to make this work for you. So John will send us into breakout rooms and then we'll see you back shortly.
And we have a few people that are just joining us. Welcome. We are in breakout rooms right now doing an activity that Sarah is guiding.
I was the only one in my room. I don't know if anybody else was in that position too. I'm happy to describe my object if anybody wants to try to draw it.
Sure, that's a great idea.
Sure, great
Okay,
idea.
all 18 of you who are in here are welcome to draw what I describe.
I think that's
Okay.
a great idea.
Okay, cool. My object is about 6 inches long, and it is really pointy at one end and kind of rounded at the other end. And it is, at the pointy end, it's white, and at the rounded end, it is kind of like dark brown with a little bit of white. And it's really soft. And it doesn't have a smell. I'm trying to use all the senses here. I don't really want to lick it, so I don't know if it has a taste. And kind of toward the middle, it's kind of brown and white striped. Does anybody want to guess what it is? You
I have a guess.
What do you think, Kara?
I think it's a feather.
Anybody else? I mean, I'm not nodding my head.
I was thinking it was a,
Very
I was
neutral.
way off. I was thinking it was a wisteria pod.
Okay, education director.
Feather.
Hey, that looks like the feather. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
I might not have described it as well as I could have, but
You did great.
anybody else draw it and want to show their drawings?
I was just listening.
Okay.
Welcome. It looks like many people are coming back from your breakout room. We'll wait just another moment as others return.
Thanks for participating, those of you who were in here with me. That was fun.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you for doing that with us, Amy.
Great. Looks like most of us have returned. And as you're starting to come back to our main room, thank you all for jumping in and being participants in this. I want you to just take a moment and think about, how did it feel during the time that you were doing that activity? I'll repeat that for just a few more people who are coming back in. I want you to think about, how did it feel as you were doing that activity? And once you have that idea, great, thank you, Rebecca. I want you to actually type that into the chat, either a word or a phrase of how you were feeling. I'm seeing connected, joyful, thrilled, grateful for small details, curious and happy, creative, giggles, challenged, harder than expected, victorious, wonderful. And those feelings that you're having right now of connectedness, joyful, fun, challenging, those are the same types of feelings that we want all of our children to feel when they are in the garden, and all of our educators to feel and be able to cultivate while they're in the garden together too. So thank you all for jumping in today with that.
Thanks, Sarah. John, you can go back to screen share, and that activity that we just got to participate in comes from one of our activity guides called the Growing Classroom. I bet many of you are familiar with that. And I wanted to share a little bit about our current curriculum work and some new activity guides and curriculum resources that we've been working on recently. The first is our Back Pocket Learning website. And so this was where we really, this spring, once we went into distance learning, we had to ask ourselves, how do we achieve all of these goals of promoting social emotional well-being and connection when kids are learning across a computer from home? And that's a tough nut to crack. But this spring, we put our heads together and worked on it together and came up with this Back Pocket Learning website. And we specifically focus on here on activities that are screen-free. So they might engage with the computer to get the idea of the activity, but the activity itself will take them either outside for something like a nature scavenger hunt or nature journaling, or it might take them to the kitchen to make a kale smash salad. They're all different activities that we found could be easily replicated at home and that would take kids out away from their screen to get kind of reconnected to the world around them. We've had now over 6,000 views from China, India, France, and Brazil, and many other countries all around the world. And one thing that we heard last year is these activities are great. I love sharing them with my students, but there's a language barrier because a lot of the students, particularly here in California and in the districts that we're supporting the most, they're at home, they're speaking Spanish. And so we're so excited that this year we're adding Spanish language resources to our Back Pocket Learning website so that the families can click on the lesson in either English or Spanish, and everyone can engage in one of those languages. And so I want to show you just a very quick, we're going to just watch a little excerpt of one of our new Spanish language lessons. It's called Mi Pequeño Jardín, or My Edible Garden. And you're just going to get a little minute glimpse into what this will look like.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Daniela y estoy en el Blooming Classroom de LifeLab y hoy vamos a hacer un pequeño jardín con todos estos ingredientes y después nos lo vamos a poder comer. Tengo aquí todos estos materiales que puedo usar. Por aquí tenemos un poco de cale o col rizada, un poco de brócoli, jitomatitos cherry, pimiento, aquí hay un poco de lechuga, cebollín.
Great. Thank you, John, for sharing that. And you can go back to the slides for screen share. If folks want to see that whole activity or many other activities that we think could work well in distance learning, you can visit backpocketlearning.org. That particular one's not on there yet, but it will be very soon. We're just starting to upload our Spanish language resources, but all of the activities are also in English on there. In addition, that was really kind of our response to the distance learning. In addition, there are two other curricular resources that are new this year that I'm excited to share with you. One is we partnered with an organization called Kiss the Ground. And Kiss the Ground put out a really fantastic film that feels so important this year. You know, with the recent fires across California and really so many challenges around the world, we've never been more aware that climate change is real, and we feel a deep responsibility to be part of the solution to it. And this film highlights one part of a solution, which is around biosequestration in the soil, pulling carbon from the atmosphere through plants, holding it in the soil. This is an incredible film that just came out on Netflix, and more than one person in my life has watched this film and said, that changed my life. And we at LifeLab developed a curricular resource that goes with the film. So it's a middle school curriculum guide to help students kind of understand the science behind this concept of biosequestration. And I love this because at a time with such a kind of overwhelming challenge globally, this presents a bit of hope. And I should highlight, it's scientifically founded hope, a little way that we can respond to climate change in a positive way. And so we're so honored to have been able to develop the curriculum for them. And when you watch the film at the end, it takes you to a page to, take action. And then it says, download the curriculum. That's one of the options. And that's our LifeLab curriculum. Next slide, please. The last one I want to share with you is our Next Generation Science in the Garden curriculum. And this is like my heart song of curriculum. We are publishing 3 new science units that are coming out this fall, and they're for kinder through 2nd grade, and they're aligned to the Next Generation Science standards. That means the standards that teachers are required to teach in science. These units map to those, directly. They're designed to teach those. We piloted these lessons with 8,000 students across Pajaro Valley Unified and also Mount Diablo Unified, got feedback, improved the units. And why I love this and why I say it's kind of my heart song is this is where we're really going to be speaking the language of the teachers rather than saying, teach all your standards to mastery and then you can come out to the garden for some fun. We're really embracing how we can use the garden as a classroom for the teachers to meet the standards that are required of them, which as a former classroom teacher myself, I know that's really fundamental to getting this integrated into the schools. And so we're so excited about these lessons. And And they're similar to the one that you just experienced, that you just got to kind of try out. And those will be rolling out for schools as they start to reopen for in-person instruction so that they can bring their science teaching outdoors. All right, with that, I'm going to lead us in another quick little stretch, and then we'll pivot over to our local work. So we did the redwood breath. Now we're going to do an espaliered apple tree. So everyone, you can put your arms out like this. Espaliered, those are the ones where the apple trees are pruned to grow flat like a wall. So you can put your arms out and then reach one branch over, pick an apple and stretch it across. And then you'll reach the other way, pick an apple, stretch it across. And now do anything you want for a second. Nice. Thanks so much, everybody. And now I'm going to turn it over to our locals to hear about our local work.
Thank you, Whitney, and thank you, Sarah. So as you can see, there are many, many developments here at LifeLab. We have been reimagining how we can reach children, school districts, families, both during this time of COVID-19 as well as beyond. We are really excited to share with you our work in Santa Cruz County. It is the birthplace of LifeLab, and it is where we are continuing to be committed to making sure that all schools have access to these wonderful programs. We also have been, for the last 6 years, very committed to making sure that Pajaro Valley has access to these programs through our Blooming Classroom as well as through our School Partners program. And this year, we are truly, truly happy to share with you, and our program staff will be sharing the partnership that we are working with to strengthen at PVUSD, Pajaro Valley Unified School District. We thank the district, we thank all of our funders and partners for their ability to make this happen. And now I will introduce to you Kara, Daniela, and Ashleen, who are our lead educators there.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Daniela Echegaray. I am the bilingual garden educator at LifeLab.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Ashleen Mitchell, and I am the LifeLab Partner Schools Program Manager.
Hello, everyone. I am Kara Wild-Sundell. I'm the Garden Programs Manager at LifeLab. At LifeLab, we cultivate a children's love of learning, healthy food, and nature through garden-based education. We do that locally within our county through a variety of programs in which we provide learning opportunities for 6,000 students. We offer field trip programs for local elementary students at both the Garden Classroom site on the UCSC farm, as well as our Blooming Classroom garden site in Watsonville, where kids are encouraged to be garden explorer scientists as well as burgeoning chefs. Alongside these field trips, we also provide an immersive teacher training program for internships for 60 plus college students each year. And we provide summer camp programs, including our Garden Sprouts and Wildlands and Watering Cans experiences for children's ages 4 through 14, and environmental education training and mentorship for teen volunteers and adult counselors. Our team of LifeLab educators also bring the Partner Schools program to life at 7 elementary schools in Pajaro Valley Unified School District. 4,000 students get to be the scientists and chefs in student-centered learning year-round in our Next Generation Science and Kids Cooking programs.
But in order to keep our community safe, we had to cancel all of our in-person programs, including field trips and school day programs for elementary school students and internships for college students. Our goal is to get kids exploring the outdoor world so they maintain and strengthen their connection to nature. But this is a time when we are stuck indoors more often and missing those in-person connections we used to cultivate together. We at LifeLab had to ask ourselves, how best can we use the talent within our LifeLab team to bring that connection to nature, healthy eating, and learning to life during a time where our normal strategies of digging in the dirt, discovering spiders' homes, and tasting beets together are not available. So we have adapted how we cultivate and support our collective love of nature, and I'll share one example with you. As part of our science education program in our partner schools, our kindergartners plant sunflower seeds in their school gardens every spring season. And we have the joy of watching those same kinders come back to their gardens as mature first graders after a long summer break. We share in their sheer astonishment at the magic of mammoth sunflowers towering over our heads and spilling nourishing seeds to feed all sorts of creatures. This magic was missing while kids are at home. So we've been putting together sunflower seed starting kits with everything students would need to nurture that same garden magic at home for themselves and their families.
Every year we look forward to having kids in the garden for summer camp. And this year the question about running or canceling camp was one we put a lot of thought into. And it was honestly a very tough decision to make. With heavy hearts, we decided not to run camp because we really wanted to make sure we were keeping our camp families, our staff, and our community safe. In our team, we asked ourselves, how can we strive to meet the needs of our camp families during COVID times? So when we were not able to connect with our camp kids in the usual way, we decided that if kids were not going to come to the garden, then we'd bring the garden experience to our kids. Our team got creative and put together more than 230 summer activity care packages, which we hand-delivered to every family that requested one. And every packet was filled with summer camp inspired hands-on activities that kids could do on their own with minimal supervision, away from the screen, and in an outdoor setting. Our camp kids got busy popping corn from the cob. They planted seeds. They made tea bags with dried herbs from the garden, and so many more hands-on activities. The gratitude from our camp families and kids was outstanding.
In the sadness of saying goodbye to our field trip and summer camps, this did give us a new opportunity to invest our year-round staff capacity into building COVID-safe programs for the students of Pajaro Valley Unified School District. With the increased complexity of our work this school year, we knew that our students would benefit from additional capacity on our school year PVUSD education team as well. Why limit ourselves during a time when connection to nature and access to outdoor education is inherently limited? So we suggested to Pajaro Valley Unified School District that we expand our school site team from last year's 4 educator positions to 8 educator positions this fall. District leaders were excited about LifeLab's desire to step into this challenging time rather than stepping back. So they encouraged this growth and contributed funding for some of the added costs of a larger team. Thanks to our generous partnership with Pajaro Valley Unified and many community partners, we were able to provide full-time employment to 8 new talented educators to work in 7 partner schools and to partner deeply with nutrition services this year. With this major increase in staff capacity, we are able to harness our energy and our commitment to our kids to bring meaningful, enhanced, and safe garden programs to our partner schools' children. We have had the fortune to hire many inspirational educators who each bring unique and wonderful talents to the LifeLab community. Each of these educators increase our collective ability to provide hands-on, student-centered, and inquiry-based science, nutrition, and environmental education for the students and families in our Pajaro Valley Unified School District. Next slide, please. Our program goals are to enhance our school's intentional garden spaces to support students' learning, strengthen our connection to our communities, and to support school-wide cultures of health.
So, how will we meet those goals? While we can't bring the kids physically into the garden spaces, we are bringing gardens to life for students by inviting them into virtual garden tours, sending them outside with guided activities to explore the world around them, and sending home fresh produce, flowers, and seeds grown in their very own school gardens. We will be creating opportunities for our partner school students to engage in learning experiences that connect students with their school garden through science, nutrition, and mindfulness activities, emphasizing off-screen, minimal materials, and encouraging outdoor exploration. We partner with Nutrition Services and Second Harvest Food Bank to take part in meal and produce distribution and promote adventurous eaters. We will participate in the Safe Spaces program, where PVUSD is identifying kids in the district who are falling through the cracks of distance learning and providing academic support for those kids. LifeLab educators will lead in-person engagement, social emotional exercises, and garden enrichment activities for the after-school sessions in Safe Spaces. Also, educators are partnering with school sites and putting their hands in the soil to enhance their school garden and to make sure the gardens are thriving when the kids return to school.
Our educators are very excited and inspired to work together with us and do all these projects. We want to take a moment now to share a message from Liz Hernandez, one of the members of our wonderful team of new educators, about her journey and the impact LifeLab has had on her.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Hernandez, current garden educator for Amesti Elementary with LifeLab, and I am here to share a deep appreciation for the partnership between LifeLab and PVUSD. I was born and raised here in Watsonville, California, and I'm actually a former student of Amesti Elementary, as well as my 3 younger siblings who've had the wonderful opportunity to experience the LifeLab curriculum in their school gardens. My parents are both farm workers, and they've worked in the Pajaro Valley strawberry fields for the past 20 years. Majority of our community members are farm workers as well. For that reason, I feel that it is so important to value the work in our community's food system and be incorporated in our school curriculum, which LifeLab does for our district. I grew a passion for teaching garden-based education through my parents' experiences, leading me to teach students in our community where the food comes from, as well as help youth have a strong appreciation for the workers in our community. This was my dream, to share personal experiences and offer academic training to our youth, and LifeLab has made my dream come true.
Woohoo! Thank you, Liz. Right now, hands-on experiential learning programs are suffering due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The survival of environmental education organizations nationwide is threatened as many programs are forced to close. Estimates of closures range, but could be as high as 63% of groups reporting uncertainty about their ability to ever reopen their doors. In hiring more environmental educators, LifeLab is providing a home for those who are just entering the workforce. We are making space for 8 full-time environmental educators entering or continuing their journey so that they can provide opportunities for kids to connect with the natural world around them, inspire caretaking and a love for worms, guavas, flowers, and to cultivate a love of learning. And now I would love to introduce another one of our new educators, Maceo Hastings Porro.
Hey everyone, buenos dias a todos. It's so nice to see everyone's beautiful faces. I am so happy to be joining LifeLab this year as one of the 8 garden educators. But my relationship with LifeLab actually goes back several years and across my whole family. I remember going on field trips up to the garden classroom at UCSC during my time in public school at Santa Cruz. And also I got the opportunity to volunteer there with Jennifer a couple years ago. And my brother participated in the Wildlands and Watering Cans summer camp. My dad was on the board for a while, and I'd love to introduce all of them, but also my parent, Jen, who's been supporting LifeLab's mission for many years.
Yeah, so I was one of those parents who didn't get it, that you had to figure out what your kids were doing, kind of February, March. So for many years, well, once I learned about LifeLab, I knew that this is something I wanted my kids to be part of. I had the privilege of kind of having all my summers to roam the swamps and be outdoors in nature just on my own, because in the parenting was different in the 50s. I just was let loose. Anyway, I wanted something like LifeLab, and I'm sure you're all kind of tingling with joy and appreciation for what you've seen. I knew I wanted my kids to be there. So I didn't get it together for Maceo to do wild plants and watering cans, but I finally got it together for Milos. So Milos, handing it over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Milos, using he, him pronouns. And I participated in Wildlands and Watering Cans, I think when I was 8 or 9 until I was about 14 or so. I think I kind of aged out, but I was like, I want to go back again. And they were like, well, okay. So I kept coming back and kept loving it. And I think my coolest experience was getting to do all of the cooking and getting all of the natural ingredients from the garden, and just being able to cook in an outdoor kitchen.
And my name is Julio Porro, and I'm a family physician and former LifeLab board member. And, you know, I got interested in more and more through my kids into LifeLab. So I decided to join the board and find out the inner workings of this organization. And I found the most caring and committed people ever. I just got to work and admire John and Whitney and Don and the whole staff. And you know, thinking back at my 6-year-old self, I was an immigrant from Cuba, and I went to Citrus Grove Elementary School in Miami, and I would have loved to have had the opportunity to do garden-based education, to be outside more. Our school looked more like a little prison, actually, if I can be honest. But, you know, in my 30 years of medicine, I've learned a couple of things. One is the importance of good, healthy food, the importance of engaging and inspiring children. And the third thing is, I've learned that there are 2 types of people in the world. 2 types of people: those who love LifeLab and those who don't know about LifeLab yet. So we've got to continue spreading the word, because as people learn about LifeLab, they just fall in love. You know, the person from Sprouts before, she had a crush on LifeLab. So we have to help people find out about LifeLab and get crushes. And so I want you today to take out your credit card and connect online, because you are online, all of you, to lifelab.org/donate. And our family is all in. As you can see, we are all in on LifeLab. And we would love for you to do the same. They're a wonderful organization. So I am going to hand it off to Nikki and Don, who will share some more details. Thank you.
Fabulous. All right. My name is Nikki Patterson, and I work with LifeLab. I am the development associate, and really, really excited to be sharing all of this current and inspired work with you, our LifeLab community. So as you know, the impact of COVID and this year's Fires Everything have been, you know, forced us to reimagine things. Part of this is we've launched a Healthy Futures campaign to celebrate and support our current programs and ensure our future stability. The LifeLab benefit is a campaign fundraiser to help us reach our 2020 annual goal. We're elated and grateful for the many contributions received thus far, and are confident that we can reach this goal with your help. To donate now, please click on the link in the chat, or you can just type in and log into lifelab.org/donate. Once again, that's in the chat. If you'd like to learn more about our Healthy Futures campaign, you can visit the Healthy Futures page on the LifeLab website, or also view the link in the chat. So in order to give you guys some time to do these things, we're going to take a short 3-minute break. You can get up, stretch your legs, pull out your checkbook, find your credit card, and then come back. We'll gather again for our very special announcement. And we'll also announce the winners of the raffle. Everybody automatically was entered into the raffle. There are 3 prizes. So please take this time, and we'll see you back shortly in 3 minutes. Thank you so much.
Wasiye den kurani dine masuro den kurani yorobe kera wasiye den musoni yorobe kera wasiye Latia kunusuro wasiya anyogon ware dine masuro demusoni yorobe kera komuso dinkurani yorobe kera iko wasala wasitaye adawolo fana ye wasitaye ajekiseye wasitaye abolo kala fana ye wasitaye iyaye iye wasiye iyaye iye wasiye wasiye ne latia.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, the Hastings-Poro family. And thank you all for still being with us here. We have been waiting for this moment. We've been working on this moment actually for over 6 months before even COVID-19. This year, we've had the great pleasure of collaborating on a beautiful new space for LifeLab. It is a space that had its seeds originally in the same and different nest, and now there is an opportunity to grow that space even further. So without further ado, we have a video to share with you. Don, was there anything else you'd like to share? Okay.
Video will do it.
Yes.
I'm Don Burgett. I have the privilege of being the co-executive director for LifeLab. And it's a great pleasure to talk about this beautiful spirit nest and how it came about here. For our part, its story starts with my seeing some of Jason's amazing work, his spirit nests, in images online. I think they were some of his earliest ones in Big Sur, and just saw a few of them and was immediately inspired by the beautiful connection that he makes with these nests between the land and the ecology around us, and creating something human-made that's truly beautiful. In my case, working here at LifeLab, where we have thousands of children coming every year, and educators and other visitors from locally and all around the country and the world, it felt like a place that was worthy of a spirit nest. Once Jason came up and saw the site and got to meet all of us and learn a little bit more about what we are doing, it's just been a beautiful relationship. We got to realize that not only is he this amazing artist of connecting natural materials and the spirit of the natural world to these beautiful creations for people to enjoy, but that he's also very much at heart an educator, as well as a very talented musician. And with that, we got to go down, some of our staff and board members, to Jason's studio in Big Sur and put together some of the first pieces, upgrades. So it's just been a joy to have it finally land here in our garden classroom, and we look forward to celebrating its presence here with the community, and most especially with the many children when they're able to come back up and visit us again.
Spirit Nest is a peaceful place where children can practice mindfulness, pause and listen to the sounds of the garden, peer out through the circular window, or just have a calm space that helps them connect to our natural world.
Thank you. And Jason is actually joining us today from Big Sur. Welcome, Jason. Thank you for working with us on this and for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
So great to have you here, Jason. And as we were saying, we're so excited to collaborate with you, and as a fellow educator and musician and artist and everything you bring, such great heart and mind and spirit. And we can't wait to celebrate in person with everybody up in the garden classroom, getting to be with the nest and in the nest and touching the nest. But so excited to share this today too.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank all of you for making contact. It's been a really wonderful experience working with all of you, and I'm in deep admiration for all the beautiful work that all of you are doing. It's truly inspirational for me, and this building a nest for an education space like this is it's really what I want to be doing most. And so this opportunity to work with you is just, it's been a real gift for me as well, just to have this opportunity. So thank you guys for inviting me in, and I feel like I have this wonderful new family with all of you.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, you are always welcome here. You are part of the Life Lab family, as all of you who are here joining us today. Don.
I was just going to say probably what you were about to say, Hudit, which is we're also very excited to say that this is probably not going to be our last nest either. We are already talking all about the next one, and that our Watsonville programs and community and family need a nest too, at least one. So we're excited to be talking with you, Jason, about one for the Blooming Classroom, and we'll see. We know how many ways you've worked with schools and integrated kids into the process of developing these amazing structures, and so we think we have many elementary schools and students that will really love to benefit from your artistry. So we look forward to all that is to come as well.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Jason. We are now going to open up this space for questions, question and answer period. I know that Nikki, Nicole, and Manny have been gathering some of the questions, and perhaps you can share it with us, whether it be for Dawn, myself, or others on staff, and including Jason as well. And if you have any other questions, you're welcome to still type them into the chat, and we'd be happy to address them. And all of you are welcome to join us for the question and answer, or if you need to depart, you certainly can. Actually, but we do have a raffle. Is that right, Nikki?
Yes.
So we don't want them to go until then.
Well, there are just 3 prizes. The first one is a gift certificate to Synergy Clothing, and the recipient of that is Beth Benjamin. Yay.
Yay, Beth.
Yes.
Also, we have 2 custom Life Lab bandanas that will go to Al Farley. Yay, Al.
Yay.
And then last but not least, a custom Life Lab mug. It's in the shape of a cute little flower pot with a handle with our logo. And it is filled also with a custom Life Lab bandana. And that is going to go to Miss Sarah Russell.
Yay.
So thanks for joining us today. And we hope that you'll all join us in the Q&A to learn more. Thank you.
And thank you, Nikki. You have been the inspiration for this event and for gathering us all. So thank you for all that you've done.
We are family.
Yes.
Love everyone.
Yay. Hi, Olga.
Hi. We wanted to introduce you to the Life Lab board president,
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for coming today, and I want to thank everybody, the whole staff, Don and Judith and John, for doing such great technology here. I don't know how you guys, were able to do this, and Whitney and everybody, the whole staff, and the wonderful work that you're doing. I have been a part of Life Lab since 1980. We keep thinking 82, 83 as a teacher, navigating curriculum at the time. The classroom, the Blooming Classroom, all of that for many, many years. And as a retired principal now and a Grammy, I cannot wait to get my granddaughter into that nest. I cannot wait to get her into it. And actually, there is a picture of her there used to be a nest up at Henry Cowell Park that I don't know if you've seen that one, Jason. But I have a picture of her sitting at that at a year old.
Oh, wow.
And I truly, Life Lab is an inspiration. I would not be a part of this organization if I didn't truly, truly love it. And, being out in the garden, I have Grammy's garden here, pumpkins growing up the side of my house, and it's just inspiring. So I appreciate everybody and everyone that can give to this organization and keep it going, because we're not going to be on Zoom for the rest of our lives. We're going to be out in the garden. We're going to be up and sitting in nests. I can't wait to sit in that nest. So again, thank you so much for coming today and for being a part of this. And I want to thank the board. We have a fabulous, fabulous board who gives so much to Life Lab. And I wish that they were all here and that we could all get together once again. And also to the Jedi movement that we've been doing, the equity and the diversity and the justice that we have in our world today. It's really important to be able to express ourselves in a way that is fair and kind and loving. And so, Nikki, I know you've done so much work in that, and everybody's done so much work in that. And it is truly, truly fabulous for Life Lab to be putting this work forward. And one more thing, our carbon footprint is very important in our world right now. And Life Lab is an organization that is really helping that in our environment. So can't wait to meet everybody out in Pájaro. I want to thank PVUSD for being our partners. Yay! It's all started in so many ways, and all those brand new teachers out there. Gosh, I can't wait to meet all of you too. I was a principal in Pájaro for 18 years. And also to Michelle Rodriguez, to have a superintendent that is supporting our program and it's allowing all of us in there to work with the kids. It's really important. Y a todos que están en Venezuela o Colombia, en donde están ustedes, bienvenidos a todos aquí. Yo soy venezolana, ahora también mexicana, parte mexicana, pero voten por favor para la persona mejor del mundo, okay? So I want you to get out there and vote and really support our carbon footprints. And again, thank you, Don, Judith, and everyone that made this happen today. And Manny, you're awesome with technology too. So anyways, I'll shut up now, but thank you for coming.
Thank you, Olga. And we also have a magician in the background who is John Fisher, who's making so
John
much
too.
awesome.
Yes,
Thank
John.
You, John.
I can't believe that Jennifer was here and John was here too. The other John, I mean, you've got a lot of people here from the past that have stayed with us, and yeah, keep on coming. If I left anybody out, I'm sorry. Oh, Julio, why don't you come back on the board? Have your wife come on the board now. Yeah, maybe. I see. So thanks again, everybody. You're awesome.
Thanks so much for all you do for kids and for educators and for Life Lab, Olga. And as Judith noted in the chat, really want to say a huge thank you to our other board members who are with us today. Michelle Stott, Barbara Gordon, Krista Colquitt. Thank you so much. And for all of you here today, you're all such an important and wonderful part of this work with us as our community, our family, and our partners in all of this. And I think with that, we want to invite questions through the chat. So if you have any questions for us, Manny, of course, another amazing magician in the background, has been answering a lot of questions along the way today. But is there anything you're wondering about that you heard today and that made you think, wait a minute, I need to know more about that?
So this is John here, and I picked up some questions in the chat. So Caroline asked, how are we going to get kids back on the land? And slowly and safely is one thing. And I know some of our schools are actually bringing kids back. Certain subsets of kids are coming back to school, and some of those schools have gardens. In our district that we're partnering with in the Pajaro Valley Unified School District, our educators will be a part of the Safe Schools program where a selection of kids are coming back. I've also heard at schools like Westlake, kids are coming back in a similar format. So slowly we're learning to do that. Our state is definitely not like a lot of the other states that are moving a lot faster. But our goal is hopefully by this summer, we'll be back with kids in outdoor programs, if not just our normal camp programs. I saw another question here about how can you get Life Lab started at your school in Modesto, food service director. And really, as a food service director, you are in a very powerful position, meaning that you have staff and you're a part of the business department. And we've seen a lot of school districts make great moves to support school gardens. So I would suggest you connect with Manteca and with Turlock. Both of those districts have school food service led garden programs. So peer-to-peer, find out what those districts are doing, connect with their school food service directors in Turlock Unified and Manteca. I know they have a strong history of school gardening. So I'm gonna sign off on those questions. See what other questions.
Ventura as well, John?
Ventura is a strong one as well.
And while it's not led as much by food service, Mount Diablo Unified has a fantastic partnership between their food service and their instructional staff for a really great integrated program as well.
And there was another question for Jason, and that is, how long did it take to create that spirit nest?
I started about, 6 months ago gathering the wood, and all of the wood is collected sustainably. It's mostly through native habitat restoration. So I've partnered with the state parks here and currently in partnership with Moss Landing and the Elkhorn Slough in their native habitat restoration. So they allow me to go in when they're removing wood in the corridor there with the slough. And so that's a big process of gathering, cutting all the leaves off, transporting the wood down to the studio. And then during the quarantine here at the studio, I had plenty of time to be home. So at the same time, I've been building 2 other nests. One for Carmel River School, which we're going to be completing this week. And then the completion of your nest. So there was 2 nests being completed side by side. And so I would say, bouncing between different projects over the last 5 months. And I can usually complete a project much faster. It's just that this time we had a lot of time and we're just home. So I was gardening and working on the nest and doing stuff with my family, and had a grandchild during that time also. So a lot of activities going on in the family.
Thank you, Jason. And Manny, are there any other questions that you'd like to share with us?
So we do have one more question from, I'm sorry, my internet's a little slow. Will this be recorded and available to teachers elsewhere by Patricia M? Yes, we will. We have been recording, and we will send a post email with the recording. So please share far and wide. Tag us on social media at LifeLab Garden on all major social medias. So.
And one more question for Jason, actually. Are there any nests in the LA area?
Actually, no, I do not have any nests in the LA area. I do not.
Not yet.
But I would love to. Not yet.
Wonderful. Well, if there are no other questions, certainly we can continue to stay in touch via email, or also have you join the website and join our mailing list as well. We invite everybody so you can stay in touch. We really very much appreciate each one of your presence. We appreciate all the places that you're joining us from. And we thank the board, the staff, participants, all of you. And as Julio said, please share LifeLab with many others in your lives so that we can continue to do this important work for children and for the planet.
And I just want to say thank you so much also for all the loving notes in the chat. It's beautiful to hear your voices in that way too. And I particularly just always, whenever we have a chance to be together in community like this, and John and Patty Brissenden are with us, I have to say a huge thank you to them. They were there at the very beginning, 41 years ago. Actually, they would probably correct me to say, oh no, it was a little before that, because they were part of the group that had the idea for LifeLab. So for being with us all these years and continuing to support the work that we're doing, building on what you started way back then, John and Patty, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's an honor and fun to be doing this work together. Thank you everyone for being here today.
Muchas gracias. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to vote. Vote early. Vote early. Bye.